All right, are we all here? We have nothing funny to say tonight. I guess we're all saving it for the podcast.
Pretty morose this afternoon. Sometimes we start with a lot of giggles. Not today, apparently.
No
giggling.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Giggles.
I got held up at work, so I just got out of traffic. So I'm usually not very giggly in traffic.
I'm giggly in traffic.
I did pull up to my house. And next door, the construction
I'll turn it down.
Yeah. The construction crew has been working on it. And in that gravel area where you can park in front of my house, there was a work truck and like 8 Hispanic guys sitting on coolers drinking like probably their 3rd or 4th Modelo since they got off work because the sun sets early around here. And I walked in and asked Vicky why all of her cousins were out front. But
why didn't you ask them if they do drywall?
Exactly.
Hey guys, drywall?
No, now he's upset.
No. Tomorrow, Vicky's going to catch them out there, bring them some extra Modelos and ask them if they do drywall.
The drywall. There you go.
There we go.
Well, welcome
that's
to...
not racist.
We'll let the Twitter sphere decide that. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low dollar racing and oddball home repair culture. It doesn't matter what kind of lemma champ. It's not really. It's about racing, everybody. We don't care what kind of lemma champ or lucky track dog league you run, SCC or NASA, we won't discriminate as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough. And Chrissy gives us just the tip. We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everybody report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental. And thank you for coming back and listening to, and we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening to a Sochiro Honda episode of our podcast. We're recording this on November 17th. And on this day in 1906, Sochiro Honda, Japanese engineer, and of course, CEO and founder of Honda Motor Corporation, was born in Hamamatsu, Japan. I'm sure I've mispronounced every one of those foreign words. But if you're not driving your Honda, go ahead and grab that E1R bingo card, and we'll kick this off with what you're working on. Up front, I'm going to go with Chris, unless somebody tells me they've got a better story.
Okay.
Chris,
No.
what you working on?
Great. I did the strut mount in Carol's Mazda, trying to get rid of a clunk in the front end. And that was the only thing I could find loose after prying in every single joint with a pry bar. And it was ready to be replaced, but it didn't solve the problem. And I also brought it for inspection, and he also couldn't find anything wrong with it. So, oh well.
We have some listeners who might not know who Carol is.
Thank you. I was about to go with that.
Chrissy's mom.
Chrissy's mom, of course, of cookie fame.
Yep.
She says she just turns up the radio.
Yeah, it's fine. Once it's mostly just on low speed streets like our street up the hill.
What did my dad say? It sounded like a bag of rocks, or no, he had some kind of shaky.
It's a little like clunk, 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 clunk.
I had a clunk in the back end of my Mazda 3 that I could not find, and I tightened every bolt and every piece of the suspension, and it just always was there. It sounded like something slightly loose.
Yep. Well, it's not unsafe, so that's helpful.
Yeah, definitely not. I put a new driver's door module in Snowflake, which stops it from clicking the heated seats on and off constantly, which is what it used to do. Start driving, it would still click, click,
it was
click, click, click.
So
click,
annoying.
Okay, because when I sold it to you,
click,
among the host of problems,
the
heated seats would only work for like 5 seconds, and then they would just turn off.
Yeah, I think that's a short in the system. But now it used to, you just drive along, not push anything, and it would go click, 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 click.
And that was loud enough that it was like you couldn't turn the radio up loud enough to. Well, you could.
You absolutely could. You
loud.
heard it when the radio wasn't on. But replacing the driver door module solved that problem, which is nice. That's also a very quick fix.
E1R top tip for anyone with a GM 400 truck.
It's an 800. Yeah. Put lots of stuff on eBay, which is great. Stuff I've been saving from the Civic or from I don't know, like I have a random set of rubber Mercedes floor mats for a generation that's outside of the 2 that I owned, because someone sent me the wrong ones and I tried to return them and they said no, keep them. I said okay. I sent them on eBay. Right. I've got a Sparko seat up there and things like that. I've been stripping the Civic of the Godzilla Civic of good stuff, and it is probably about half stripped. The whole interior is out, the cage cell is out, not the cage cell, the cover is off, the front suspension's half apart, the whole interiors, all the wiring's out. So working on getting that stripped to get it to go away. If anyone wants a EF Civic roll cage, basically will be all that's left when this thing is done. Let me
There'll
know.
be a unibody around it, but
Yeah,
damn well built.
it is a
roll
really
cage at
It's
that.
a good
better
cage,
than you're
yeah.
going to find otherwise. It's a
Yeah.
really nice cage, fits the car beautifully. I got snow tires put on the Mercedes, and I have finally figured out that the problem with the radar cruise control is the distance sensing module on the front. I've tried recalibrating it. I've tried moving it around. I've tried doing all kinds of stuff, and it will not do it. It still thinks it has a inappropriate angle at the front. Even if I take it and move it, physically move the angle, it doesn't change. So it's something in the module. So ordered a new module.
I love that the Germans think anything's inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, even they have their limits. Jeff, what have you been doing?
sure. Hold on a second while I make sure my computer doesn't restart in the middle of the podcast. It just
That'd be good.
said,
because
"Hey,
you're
we're going to
recording.
restart you in 10 minutes." No, you're not. I got it. I did an oil change in the Hyundai Veloster.
That's amazing.
Shame edition.
Shame edition.
Why?
Good.
I took it to the dealership for an oil change.
What?
Oh, hold on. Now,
What?
in your defense, you don't have a usable garage. And what's the temperature there right now?
Oh, that's not the problem.
No, you're just a what?
No. I took it to the dealership because I wanted it. I wanted the record to be in my name that I owned it, which I have not been able to get Hyundai to do. Like I've been using their computer system trying to because it is still a warranted vehicle. It has 8,000 miles on it, for crying out loud. So I went in and I was like, look, let's just do the dealership experience once, see what it's like, get everything in my name, and then I'll never be back ever again. They charged me $60 and gave me a free oil change. I'm probably going to go back. It's just too silly not to.
Why did you pull a Jen on them? To get the oil
No,
change?
that's just their price. They're like,
well, said it was free. You
no,
said.
it's a $60 oil change with a free car wash.
Oh, you
sorry,
said
that's
That's not what you said at all.
Free car
you
wash.
got, you got a
It's free-
$60
you
oil
said free
change
oil
and a
change.
free
No,
oil
just
change.
sorry. I didn't mean
Oh.
I
that.
was
Wow.
trying to. Where's the story for
Free
doing
car
this for
wash
Jen?
with the oil
Okay.
change at the local car wash that charges $20. I'm like, for $40, I couldn't even do it at my house. But anyway,
And you won't wash that car. So.
I will. I've been washing it very frequently because it's freaking light blue and I could see everything on it. But that's besides the point. I'm like, Chrissy, I need a hosies for Christmas.
See? Makes you miss the gray car you had.
Exactly.
before.
The gray car was
Right?
awesome. But anyway, yeah. So it was a great experience. It was not a problem. And then I came home and you see that box right there behind me?
Blue? No, not the other box.
Steve, the dishwashing fairy, hooked me up with all kinds of Hyundai Veloster gear.
Ooh, cool.
Oh wow.
I guess no one else wanted it, so
No, he had a bad
Ouch.
dealer experience.
Oh,
And
yes,
he
as
had been
we
talking
all
about
know
that when
on
I was saying.
Slack, yeah.
And he had talked to some sort of regional director, and the regional director said, "Do we feel really bad? And what can I do to make it better for you?" And obviously fixed his problem in the car, but hooked him up with a box of Veloster N swag, and he sent it to me. So
Okay, so way to go, Hyundai. Way to go, Steve.
yeah, it's
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. I hate to make it all about my Hyundai, but I'm also shopping for winter wheels and tires because it's 37 degrees and my summer Pirellis are not happy right now. I'm going to go 18-inch, going to do all season because I don't think I really need snows. And then I'm going to save my 19s for summer track tire duty. If it snows, I'll take my truck.
Yep.
Sounds
like a good idea.
Can you get some takeoffs off a different Hyundai?
Okay, you can get them off the Hyundai Turbo, but they're ugly. So I'm not interested.
There's nothing like on a Sonata or a, I don't know.
I don't know. People are talking about doing the
Or Kia, is there Kia?
Yeah, the Kia, whatever, the GT
Yeah,
one.
The Stinger.
The Stinger GT, but I might as well just order good wheels from the tire rack that I like. And
sometimes the nice part about getting the takeoff used ones from a car that no one wants the wheels from is that they're cheap and they already have the tire pressure sensors in them and all that stuff. And
yeah, there's definitely that. The one issue I'm having is the 18s with the right back spacing actually make you go about 10 millimeters less on the tires. And according to Tire Rack, it says aggressive fitment may need fender rolling, which is definitely not what I plan on doing.
That's not the right back spacing then.
No, it's not. The right back spacing doesn't exist. So the current tires are wheels are 8-inch wide with 55 back spacing. Offset, or 19 8-inch 55, and
it's offset, not back spacing.
Offset, sorry,
is different from this. Okay, yeah.
And then the offset on the everything you could buy in the aftermarket is 18 with 45 offset.
So how many millimeters? How many millimeters do you need it so you don't have to roll your fenders?
So 235s are what are on it now, and Tire Rack and everyone else is selling 225s.
Okay, so that's a question of the tire, not the wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe you could have a couple millimeters taken off the wheel at a machine shop.
I don't know. Everyone in the Hyundai forum says they fit fine. So
yeah, like on the Mercedes, we just put 225 50 18 snow tires on in place of the 245 45 18 all seasons that came on it. So it's a -0 setup, a little narrower for the snow, but same overall diameter.
Yeah, basically same thing. It's pretty close. I just didn't want to order it until I read on the forums that it actually doesn't rub. So sure. I'll send you all the specs. You're the expert. I'll get your opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Mental, what are you doing?
So
we'll go to Chrissy last.
Why are we going to Chrissy? All right.
Save the best for last.
Fair. Released a couple of Lemons wrap-up videos this week. So you can check that out. There was the butt and also the Gingerman video there. I got the 928 fuel pump completely replaced. And while I was putting the new one on, I was running the wires. And as I am setting the wires, they were actually molded into the gas tank holder. I heard a snap because these wires are 30 years old, 40 years old.
Yes.
And have been in the sun their entire life. So big surprise, I have no electricity to my fuel pump. So I'll be running new wires, but it's got a new fuel pump on it right now. Yeah, I got into the Toyota engine and it suddenly stopped running. If you don't remember, I've got a 78 Toyota Hilux and I had it all running and then it just died. So the preliminary, and I don't think this was the actual cost. I think this is a secondary symptom, but a valve spring on the number 3 cylinder is now several little tiny rings. It's not a spring at all. It's a broken slinky. So I've got that flipped over and I just got back from Lemons at Mercedes Sugarland Ranch, which means it's time to play Guess the
Rental.
Yay! I love this game.
I don't know what you rented, but I know you stood in a hella long line.
That was unbelievable. I mean, it was. I don't even like.
Car?
Well, if you didn't live under a rock, you would have seen it. But yes. You live under a rock. Well, it was.
But all of our listeners saw the social media where I did the sarcastic walk all the way down the line because
it was 30,
brutal.
30, maybe more, 40 people.
It was. I think I counted. It was closer to 70.
Oh yeah, I wasn't.
We were
it just kept going.
45 minutes. Almost.
This isn't TSA. This is a rental car line.
Correct.
You need to switch rental car companies so you can just walk out and pick a car and walk away.
Fact, but I don't choose the rental cars when J Lam is paying the bills.
Maybe you should influence the people that do.
Yeah.
That person is Kim.
I know.
You try and influence her. You know how that's going to go.
She responds to logic.
Yeah, and so I sent her that, and she went, "Holy crap! I'll see you tomorrow." Upside: if you ever find yourself in a long line at a rental counter, have a Dale. Always have a Dale stempel with you because everyone around you will suddenly be in a good mood, and when you approach the counter, so will the counter person.
All right.
Good.
Always carry a Dale. It's just the answer to everything. Nobody's mad when there's a Dale.
All right. So give us some particulars and then we'll play Guess the Rental.
It is something that I personally have actually never seen rented. It is a widely popular vehicle, and this was the entry-level version. Nothing really cool about it, but it was a good vehicle. I would own one, but I wouldn't pay what they ask for one.
All right.
Do you have any oh God, I asked a question.
Class.
Do you have any
Go ahead.
stipulations for needing size? You're not going to live in it because you have a hotel room. Do you need to bring a lot of people? You and Dale, right? So you don't have
Correct.
a lot of people.
Correct. And I was on the entry level. This was not an entry level rental. We were upgraded. Carry a Dale. Always have a Dale.
So I just need to know the class. Do they consider this? You said the economy is the lowest level.
Mhm.
So was this the?
Actually, I think they have like sub.
Then there's
There's
Yeah.
like sub. There's like,
subcompact economy.
right. This probably would fall into the intermediate or better.
Okay, got it.
And I feel like that's a bit of a distracted answer, but if I give you the true answer, you'll guess.
How many
my God.
cylinders?
Ooh, good question. 4.
And widely popular. I'm just going to shoot my load now and say Camry.
Close. No.
I've asked my one question, so we need another question.
You can't ask. We already asked our questions.
Well,
Okay.
I took a guess. So you all get. I think everybody gets another question. I think is the rules of guess the
Yeah,
rental.
I'll say, yeah, Chris didn't ask us a question.
Oh, I asked how many cylinders.
So
Oh, yeah, sorry, you did. Yeah, all right.
How many doors, including a lift gate?
Ooh, good question. 5.
oh,
Okay.
darn.
Never seen it rented.
I'm out, but I would ask continent of manufacturer if I was.
We can't
Chrissy.
ask any more questions. No, I already asked my question.
gonna
I asked
say-
like 3.
Oh
I said, how many people? Good. Go
I
ahead.
don't-
CRV.
no!
Also close, a little bigger.
Oh,
CRV was going to be my answer. Or
Because
my
Honda
Uh,
doesn't
so-
really
so
ever
I'll-
go into fleet, which is the tough part.
I'll tee this one up. Jeff had half the answer. Chris was close with the other half of the answer.
Toyota SUV of
yeah,
some sort.
right. That's
That's got to be Chrissy.
That's
I
what
think you perhaps have rented one of these.
I had a Highlander. I had a Highlander. Yes.
It was a 4Runner.
4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. I don't usually see them in the
Yeah, it's
fleets.
true.
No,
No.
not at all.
And this was
Yep.
the base model 4Runner, but there's a reason those cars are still so popular. It was
Mhm.
extremely competent, very quick, had all the radar guided cruise control, very comfortable. It felt dated, but not
That's because
not
it is.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a dated design, but it still felt like a good truck.
Yeah, I know what you said of I liked it, but I wouldn't pay what they're asking for it. I get it. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great.
Cool.
See,
We all failed, but that's good.
That's good.
Anyway,
yeah, it genuinely, and I was trying to be careful not to get any pictures of it because I didn't want to ruin. Because we had some people when I posted the lineup on our social medias, they were already started playing Guess the Rental, and had it been
Wow.
Ultima, it would have been followed by a rage post of I hate Texas. But
Well, but also everybody
Maybe
knows
next
that you don't have many options sometimes, especially when you showed a
Especially
picture
when
with
you're waiting in
75
line,
people
yeah.
in line. I would have,
Yeah.
if they gave you a tricycle,
Whatever's
you might
left.
have said, okay,
Exactly.
like you don't have a
pretty much.
whole lot of options. Like if it runs and drives, you're just going to be like, crap, this is going to be terrible, but you need a car to get somewhere.
Yep. So it was an upgrade because it was the SUV, and I think they consider that a full size SUV, not like a large SUV. And I am absolutely certain the woman did that because Dale just got up there and was charming her and hoping that her day got better, and said he was mad that if anyone else was yelling at her.
Well, very good. I think we're down to Chrissy. What's she
Oh,
working
yeah.
on?
Like nothing interesting. You made it sound like I have something exciting to talk about. I really don't. Instead of helping Chris with my mom's car or do other things in the garage, because it was really cold this weekend, I helped out my clean out the second unborn nephew's room. I also posted a lot of parts for sale. Still working on the Mazda parts that we took off the car, trying to add them. And we just had kind of a lazy Sunday. We watched the F1 race and the Eagles won. Really, nothing interesting. Sorry. Let's go.
That's fine. All right. This is hot off the presses. We are recording this on Wednesday at 8:00 ish. And like literally just a couple of hours ago, the president was talking about the infrastructure bill on the floor of the GM plant in Detroit. And I just want to see if anybody saw it. He got to hoon the all electric Humvee, which is like, that means he's driven the Lightning and the Humvee, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, he did some light hooning and then he was like, this guy's such a legit car guy. He was like bubbling about how cool the Humvee was. And then he started talking about his 67 Stingray, which was Goodwood green over tan. And he's yucking it up with Mary Barra. And he like knew horsepower and torque figures. And you could tell he was like not yet reading his speech. So yeah, it's clear this dude could totally hang at Cars and Coffee. He owns a Corvette. He probably has New Balances. He tells stories that go nowhere, but man, he loves his cars.
I remember
the Onion articles when they used to have him washing his transit.
Exactly.
Cracking open a bush, cranking up some White Snake.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's do the real news and notes. It was announced and half the world is mad, but really, how could a new upmarket sporty Honda car with a manual be bad? So we had to ask Chris because he's the only one here I think has owned an Integra. Chris, what do you think of the new Integra?
I think let's think about what an Integra is and what an Integra always has been since the first one in 86. It's a little bit bigger and notably fancier and usually the better performing Civic. It's exactly based on the Civic. Although that's why the whole Honda hybrid motor swap community started, because Integra has better something put in Civic, right?
Which is why so many of the Integras were like the most stolen cars forever, because people wanted to upgrade their Honda.
Exactly. And there's also a lot of people out there who have been complaining, I can't get a Civic Si hatch. Like I want the hatch, but I want it with the more boost SI motor, with the manual, with the limited slip and all that stuff. And Honda won't sell it to me. They only sell a sport touring or a Type R. They wanted the medium. Guess what? This is a Civic medium. Si hatch.
Yeah.
That's a little nicer.
Yeah. Four doors. With 4 doors.
Exactly. This is exactly what an Integra has always have been. I don't understand why people are all robot arms
except for the 4-door part. There's always been a 2-door.
Yeah, sure.
They had the 4 doors. They've always looked goofy.
They had the 4 doors in actually only 86 to 89 had the 4 doors.
The pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
Versions, which I like the look of those.
Yeah, I owned 2 of them briefly. They were both parts cars for CRXs. So, of course, that's what you do with
there it is. The 3-pedal mafia, Honda extraordinaire, and the entire cast of E1R podcast has said it. Integra, good job, Honda.
Yeah, if we were still looking for a new car, we would probably consider this, because nice, good to drive, hatch. Okay.
And there's probably a quote Type R coming later, which will have the turbo motor. Sure. You know what I mean? For the first one, they're not going to come right out the gate with the hottest motor.
And then they'll have the Type S, because they always have that. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Or S, whichever one they choose.
Yeah. And it'll have the cool Type R engine in it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. That's all I had. Cool. Who else got news and notes?
All right. So I got busted before this podcast for widely publicizing this, and I'm not going to stop now.
Thank you.
If you look on our social medias, Lemons Racer Lounge, or tomorrow on Hooniverse, you will find that Chrissy is busy doing her thing, trying her level best to be a positive and favorable representative of women in motorsports, and she has entered a contest by Car Chicks. Now, this is a website that for women in motorsports. Bonus, they are also a Racing Junk Media partner. fantastic. We would love it if you, dear listener, would go to the link and vote for her if you have not already seen it on our Facebook or on the Citrus Racers Lounge or other place like that. Yes, it's going to mean a lot for this podcast, and yes, it would mean a lot to Chrissy, but she's happy if it doesn't play out as well. But I want you, while you're there, to think about your daughter or your niece or just your favorite young person who might be involved in motorsports. And with a handful of exceptions in this contest, there aren't a lot of these cheesy, goofy, not really racer bimbos on a car. And I also want you to think about motorsports in general. It's getting better, but there's not a lot of positive role models in the sport. You've got Snail Sally, who does drifting and time attack. You've got Sarah Montgomery, MX5 champion. And of course, you've got your pros. You've got your Danikas. You've got your
Catherine Legg.
Michelle Abedes. These are all great people. But even where we do it, there still needs to be more ladies involved. You've got Chrissy, you've got Dr. Mary, you've got Wendy Epstein, all of these great folks. So you vote on this contest. And if you even now Google the phrase women in motorsport, you're still going to get a whole lot of finger quote Instagram models laying all over a car that don't know how to drive them. So this calendar, almost every one of those entries are actually real drivers, and I love that. And my favorite non-co-host entry is Cassidy Bush, who is a circle track racer, and her picture is her on a little tiny pedal car, still wearing her driver's suit in front of her race car, just being real and being honest. And she's a circle track racer from Virginia. She also goes drag racing. I love that. So your favorite racing fan, male or female, deserves better. They deserve better role models. They deserve better things, and they deserve to inherit a racing hobby that is open and honest and for everyone. And I want to pursue that and push that as much as possible. So please click on the link, go and vote for Chrissy. If you don't vote for Chrissy, vote for somebody else, but just go and vote. And when that calendar comes out, we're going to get all kinds of copies of it, and everyone's going to be happy. And Racer Chicks or Car Chicks is going to go, yes, this is the future, because it is. I have to have the top 12 vote getters. Right now, Chrissy is not quite in the top 12, but I'm convinced we can change that. You can vote every 4 hours. It is a pain in the ass. You got to put
from every email address you have.
Every email you own.
Yes. You've got to put in an email address, and then you get a code, and you got to go back and put in that code. So I'm doing this 5 times every 4 hours. Yes. So let's get out there and do that. It's sold. The calendar is sold through their website, and it's going to feature all these women in racing. It's going to be fantastic. And every racing fan deserves to look up and see an actual, real, old school, bloody knuckled, occasionally greasy handed gearhead who can and has gone toe to toe with some of the best drivers in the business. So, and we as racing fans all deserve that, and for everyone to realize racing is for everyone. Vote early, vote often. Off the soapbox.
I feel like mental's like slowly I turned. Never mind.
All right. Hey, there's much ballyhoo about the new infrastructure bill, and we're not everyone in politics. There's lots of other places you can go yell at people about that. But Zach Palmer at Autoblog found a lovely addition that we think we can all appreciate. American vehicle regulations are really painfully outdated in some ways, including exact language that holds U.S. cars specifically to headlights that by law have to have a dedicated
that's why our headlights suck.
Right. Like our car, Mercedes in Europe, though, the headlights are just on. And when a car's coming the other way, it will just reshape the beam to bring it away from the other car. Isn't that lovely? Right? We don't get that because of the stupid law. So, but Zach explains, finally being updated, quote, to allow for use on vehicles of adaptive driving beam headlamp systems. Not to new technology. We're just being allowed to catch up with the rest of the world. So this is like turning with the car. In Europe, they have these lights that they can adapt their high beam illumination based on the environments. They use the cameras and the sensors. They can trace a perfect dark opening for other cars to not blind them, but you get good light. They can dim select spots to not drive other drivers. They can dim for signs to not dazzle with reflection. Some OEMs apparently have even made headlights that can project warning signs onto pavement or swivel up to highlight pedestrians entering the road or highlighting lane changes. Awesome. Like it's so cool, but we don't get it because our stupid headlight law was bad. Now it's getting better. That's a win.
I am hoping I can get the my Mercedes, and ideally yours, retrofitted, because I will order some adaptive.
Yeah, well,
headlights.
ours are. I mean, the headlights are like $2,500 each if you do that. So I don't know.
All
If
right,
it's
so
worth
so
that.
so
I don't think
even,
it's worth it.
Erling, start going to the junkyard and putting out these adaptive headlight systems. Put them on eBay. You will
Yeah.
make a small fortune. I think this would, if you also could retrofit this technology to your true 24-hour races, or to WRL and Champ Car, which will run these long 14-hour events that go deep into the night. This would be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are quite that good at hacking the OEM CAN systems on these ridiculous LED headlights.
And then then I'd rather just go eat a sandwich, right? Like
Yeah.
it's great and stuff, but like you care that much. There's better things to do, like F1. Owen Bellwood at Jalopnik has a bit of dire warning for us F1 fans. Apparently, the F1 track in Saudi Arabia is nowhere close to being
I read
done.
this and went, "What are you nuts?"
Oh, cool. Yeah. Why is it a big deal? Then the cars are scheduled to be on that track in 16 days, 15 days if you're going to, by the time you start listening to this, or even less if you listen to it not tomorrow morning. The Jeddah.
I think it's Jeddah, right?
It is. I'm sorry.
There's phonetics on here.
trying to-
That's what it mess me up anymore. This circuit there is the home to the inaugural event in Saudi, is the second longest course in the 2021 F1 calendar. Spa in Belgium is the longest, since we know, if you were wondering it or you remember that, whatever. Organizers have admitted that finishing the site was, quote, was always going to be very close. But according to the report from Autosport, the build is still ongoing, and that construction workers are up against it to finish the track on time. The race director, as well as Formula One CEO, remain confident that the track will be finished on time, but F1 has admitted that this could mean non-essential construction is not completed in time for the race. What will be completed? My picks for the Fantasy League, which I'm still doing pretty well.
I'm in the points in the last couple of weeks. I've
wow.
gone from
like 16.
Yeah, like I've gone from like maybe getting an American driver next year to like in the points. So
I should have dropped Stroll a long time ago, and now I can't afford anything because he sucks. But yes, don't join our league, especially if you're good, because I don't want you to beat me. And Maximum Lexi, who are you? Because I'm annoyed that
you're killing us, and we
killing us right now. You're just bot or something. Okay, done with news notes. F1 soapbox off.
Woo woo. Chris, do you want to update us on the forever darkening our driveway saga of the Citroen
Stupid
SM?
Citroen. Yeah, I submitted a lovely presentation to bring a trailer. We had over 100 pictures. We had 9 videos. Pictures were the new ones. I think those are pretty good that we took. The glamour shots, right?
Yep.
They said they want unique cars that are honestly presented. Damn if we don't have that and didn't do it. And guess what? They said no. Suck it.
Yeah, those of us who've been obviously we were talking with the bid nerds guys. They really plugged it that that it is no longer an enthusiast market. It is
they're going to have another 911 instead of
exactly
or 85 of them, and they're stacked. They're stacked. There's 4 of them in a row.
The original ethos of Bring a Trailer was this kind of stuff, like weird project, interesting things.
Bring a trailer because it's a project car,
right?
And I'm not going to bag on them for building an industry.
Shark jumped.
Right, I'm not going to, but I mean, everyone talks now about the Bring a Trailer tax, but where you absolutely can't list that car, and it will be seen by thousands, is the racingjunk.com classifieds.
Yeah,
that's
where it's going to go.
That's where we're going.
Yep,
absolutely, because we went ahead and just paid the premier account. You get like 20 pictures on that ad. It's fantastic.
Mental, go back from the microphone 1 more inch. You're crushing it just a little bit.
All right, I don't know.
I know your new microphone is tough.
The same to me.
It is. No, it's better. Whatever you just did, the 1 inch helped. So Racing Junk. Go ahead, Mental.
Well, so for less than $5 a month, you get a premier account. You get to look at racingjunk.com without ads. You get up to 20 pictures. You get a description. You can do all of these ads for free, several ads free a year, and it's going to be seen by everyone. I predict this car will sell on racingjunk.com.
Well, we're definitely going to tweet it and get it out
stupid
everywhere.
Thing. If anybody
Wow.
wants a Citroen, say something.
We've been emailed twice by a team that wants it. They were just asking for a price. Yeah.
Great. Make offer. That's your price.
Reasonable offer, because we would just like $1.
Get it the hell out of the driveway.
Well,
and like something to go to the next car. That's it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah, this is
your price.
We all know Racing Junk is a new media partner for us, but this is really what we have. This is no BS discussion here. We are posting the Citroen on Racing Junk because we have been denied by the other hoity-toity. I'm going to make $1 million on my whatever.
Cars and Bids only goes to 1981. They won't go back to the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty much down to Racing Junk and eBay.
Yeah, and eBay's a hassle. Racing Junk is still enthusiast.
Yeah.
I'm very sad because I get the daily bring a trailer, and I probably show Chris a car at least every other day. And now I get the email, and I'm sad because I don't want to like them anymore.
Nope. You know what email doesn't make us sad? The Racing Junk newsletter.
There you go.
It was kind of hilarious, the one we got today, I think it was.
Oh, I didn't look at it yet.
The pictures were really, really bad. Like, really bad. But that's okay.
Doesn't make you sad, though. Good.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Yep. All right. Next.
All right, what's next?
We got an update on the Survive the 25.
Yes.
Was elected to represent our show against 5 hosts of 5 car racing podcasts. The bet is to lose at least 25 pounds, read at least 5 racing books, and race at least 5 karting races or sim racing events for 1 hour. Sounds like fun? Hey, you can join in. Link in our show notes. In fact, some random listeners will be selected to win podcast swag at the end of the competition.
Oh, including potentially.
Ordered, which is fun.
Oh,
look at this.
Oh, you're showing our new stuff.
The new E1R logo Sharpie, because everyone needs a Sharpie.
We all know you need Sharpies.
Yeah, everybody who works on car needs a Sharpie. But
absolutely. So, hey, last week was the start. So Jeff got his initial weigh-in, which is not to imply Jeff is fat. He's just trying to better himself and add lightness.
I'm a little fat. I don't know.
Okay, so what are we working with, Jeff, here?
So I just want to say that the week went well. I have been tracking all of my meals. I've been watching my caloric intake. I am reducing very quickly my portion sizes, and my weirdo, wacky lifestyle about what time things happen in my life is really hard. Because I didn't realize this, but you get hungry at certain times of the day when you don't eat like a pig. So
that's a thing.
So I'm like, holy cow, I'm hungry. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's 1:30 or 1:45 and I haven't eaten lunch yet. So I get out I've packed lunch every single day. I have not eaten anything through the window. I have been on the workout, the elliptical every single day. And I will say that I've been on elliptical every day. I've been tracking every day with MyFitnessPal. We're not sponsored by them, but yeah, it's pretty good. I'm doing well. I have not done a second weigh-in yet, so I don't know if I lost anything yet because I'm not weighing myself every week. I'm going to go at least every other week. We have to check into the Survive the 25 once a month. And I kind of want a middle report and then an end report. So,
okay, good.
Yeah. I think people can get too addicted to standing on the scale. And
well, and a scale, even though this contest is in 25 pounds, a scale is a terrible measure of fitness.
Yeah.
Right.
And I definitely am doing well on the elliptical. That's feeling good.
Are we allowed to know where you started? And
Didn't I say that last time?
Yeah, we did.
Hey, last time you said.
Oh, okay.
What did I say? 226, right?
Well, yeah, because you said you were going to eat a bunch because you were weighing in. So yeah, I wanted. Okay.
No, 226. So
all right.
Yeah,
so
I got to get down to 201.
Which?
Or 199 was what you said.
Or what? Yeah, but I'm going to go for 199 because I want to be 199. But I also, on the other tip, got all of the junk moved around. The office is back together. So my sim rig is now exposed. So I can go back to sim racing again. So
you got to get something in.
Yeah.
We should look for something to see if we can find anything at Slick Willie's. Maybe you'd come over for a weekend.
Sure.
I don't know if they have anything that's a little bit longer, but that's the karting place. That's not far from us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Or flights to Vegas are cheap.
They're not that cheap.
No, they're not. And then there's time.
Maybe when they're out at PRI, we can find some. I don't know. Maybe. Nah, probably. We're
It's
gonna be busy.
Indianapolis. It's going to be cold and we're going to be in the middle of the city. No.
I think it's got to be. Are you around the Indianapolis area? Let us know where the good car track is.
There you go. Indoors.
We're not going to have time.
We're not going to have time.
We're going to be so tired.
It closes at 5. It's fine.
That's when drinking time starts.
And karting.
Coming races. Garage Heroes. # survive the 25. AER is at Thunderbolt NJMP for their final event of the 2021 season. That's the non-Dong course, the good one. 59 cars, 29 BMWs.
Boring.
I had to sneeze. I was trying to get it in the boring. 5 Miatas, 1 Acura, 7 Porsches, and the Jetta from the Krabby Kraut guys. Good for you, people. Good crowd for AER. This is kind of their like home track, right?
Yeah, because
that's a lot of Beamers, though, man.
Yeah, well, I they're
Welcome
probably
to AER.
right. 15 of them are probably Rally Baby. So there's that.
True.
Fine. They're all kind of incestuous around there, which is good. Chimcar is at legendary Laguna Seca for the weekend. 31 cars, only 5 BMWs. That's good for them. Not so
boring, but good.
Not so boring.
Decent ratio. Yeah.
Right, boring. 10 Miatas, 2 Hondas, not a Porsche to be seen, and our buddies Eric and Ian Pearson will be there with the mighty Maserati bi-turbo. Good luck, guys.
And Lucky Dog is wrapping up their 21 season with the 1,000 miles of Thunderhill. They're running the full Thunder Schleif there. And over the course of 2 days, which is set for 7 hours each, the first A, B, and C cars to cross the 1,000-mile mark at 212 laps or at 4:30 on a Sunday will freeze the field in that class. This is pretty interesting, though. Jeff's going to tell us more.
Yeah. So then the race is going to run with a parc fermé format, literally meaning closed park in French. Thank you. I hope I said that right. Pit lane will close 30 minutes before Saturday's black flag, all checkered flag. Teams that pit or are already in the paddock after that will start 15 minutes after the green flag on Sunday. So just by not being on the track at the end of Saturday gets you 15 minutes in the paddock of green flag Sunday. For those that don't, 5 p.m. Saturday, the teams will come off track, park their car on the front straight wall adjacent to the track, pit lane kind of area, not in their paddock stall. They can cover their car until Sunday morning, but they can do nothing else to it. So if you're choosing the parc fermé format, you can't even fuel on overnight until you've had at least one. Until your driver's the cool suit. You can't. Yeah. And then after one green flag lap on Sunday, the pits will be open to do whatever you need to do.
That's crazy.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
Can't wait to see how that goes. And then, of course, then you can. There's no stressing on. Like then you just have dinner because you can't work on it.
And
it's out there. I can't do anything.
To me, that's a pretty big thing for 15 minutes. Because even just fueling and checking the oil and airing the tires, that's a 7-minute pit stop, right? Especially at the Thunder Schleif.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be more advantageous if you can just stay out.
Absolutely.
Especially because Lucky Dog, you can do everything in the pits.
It's true.
You can swap your tires. You can do all that stuff. Realistically, if you get everyone there and good to go, you make that a pretty quick stop.
I think parc fermé should be like 30 minutes. I think 15 minutes is too light.
Well, but you think about if you have a pit stop at 4 and you get everything done, then you can start Sunday morning and just go.
That's true. You could do it before. Yeah. Good thought.
Well, there's going to be some good strategy there.
That's great. Okay. Well, there must be a lot of people that are excited about there because there are 98 cars. Amazing. 31 of them are BMWs.
Third of the course. Boring.
So boring. 27 of them are Miatas.
Also boring.
Also boring, right? 4 Hondas, 5 Porsches, and the list of cars. A 03 Sentra, an 05 Elantra, a 74 Elite,
nice.
Right? An SC400, and a 26 TGT. Is that the TGT?
It's got to be, right?
I would think
There's
so.
only so many teams.
I would think so. I've put it in here, and that's basically it. Because really, with 31 and 27, there's nothing else that's interesting at all. So, it is also their championship race, and there are 102 teams in contention for the 2021 Lucky Dog Championship. Should be a good one.
It's great.
Can't wait to see updates on that.
Great job, Kathy.
So recent results. Just this past weekend, again, MSR Houston for the Yokohama Stutton and Sploden Soiree, a little over 100 cars, Now, overall went to 777, the Ginger race team, and their boring BMW. And I actually went to talk to them a little bit so we'd have something for the trophy ceremony. That car was built and first started racing in 2006. So that is 14 years of development. Really isn't that cheaty. Just team got better, car got better. Class B finally went to Party Girl Racing in their supercharged Mercedes C-Class, which they pulled the supercharger off and put a turbocharger on there. It's still an automatic. Everybody was fussing. I got a great painting as a bribe, which I will have behind me when I go to do the wrap-up video for that one. And the 193 Breaking Bad Ford Festiva got Class C. And this is a supercharged twin-cam Mazda engine that they put in there, and this thing has always been hella fast, has always blown up. So they finally figured out how to keep it together, and they crushed Class C. They'll be competitive in B right out of the gate. Heroic Fix went to Motorsport because they did yet another engine swap in their Mirage, which seems to literally punctuate every weekend, and they were trying to sell that car before they left with the trophy. Dear God, please take this thing away from us. They are on their way to something else. The I Got Screwed went to Wendy. It was tetanus, but technically, really, it was Wendy Epstein. She had an Xterra and the mighty Anton Cavalier that she was going to race and then donate both of them to Ranger Road. Cavalier saw part of the day on Saturday before the cotter pin either disappeared, wasn't in, whatever. Front suspension decided to quit functioning altogether while Dr. Mary was driving it.
Yep, saw that on the internet.
yeah, I think it's her new wallpaper. And the Xterra, they kind of got it running, and then the gear shaft that runs through the distributor, the oil pump, failed. They tried to find one online. There was one at a local dealership, which they would not sell her unless they installed it. And she's like, yeah, look, I'll just pay you the $80 1 hour labor. Give me the part. No, we're not going to do that. So they kind of got screwed. The regional was Jack Wrench Racing, and we called it the Waffle House Condition Yellow Limited Menu Only. And they were an entire Waffle House theme. They glued, not even glued, like really well affixed an entire meal on the roof of their Honda Accord, including a coffee pot, which would slosh around, and they kept bringing us waffles and coffee all weekend.
Nice.
They were all wearing Waffle House shirts. They really, whole family, they really got into it. It was fantastic. Judge's choice was Hi Hungry, I'm Dad, and their Mazda 929. They had rethemed it as an Ocean Eels theme. When they pulled through penalty, they gave us small 3D printed car batteries that you were to throw in the ocean. And then they had a guy dressed up like Jacques Cousteau in the car who would throw them back. You know, the ocean is done with your pollution. We're tired of this crap. And then even as they started on Saturday morning, we're doing the gear checks as folks are coming on there. He drives by and I get hit in the back by 3 batteries that they had brought with them to throw at me as they drove onto the track.
Yeah, don't recycle your car batteries, kids. Just throw it in the ocean.
Yes. So they leaned into that theme. It was fantastic. Organizer's choice was the number 80 Event Horizon, Plymouth Horizon. It's a French Chrysler with a VW engine, Chinese ignition, and Honda wheels. What's not to love? And finally, the IOE, after a very long time of trying, went to the Resistance because they had their number 900, I think, technically second-gen Civic wagon, and the other Dodge Dart that always goes up against the Escape Velocity. Escape Velocity really came into character. They were all wearing 50s vest, and they all dressed like engineers all weekend, stayed in costume. Either they were in the driver's suit or they were in costume. And there'll be some great footage in the wrap-up video of them walking over, talking about what commies are no damn good at, because the Resistance Dodge Dart is painted up like a Sputnik car. So just a fantastic time. Unfortunately, the Battle Scarred Motorsports car, they wrecked 3 cars over the weekend. The drivers were all fine. They did resurrect an 8-year discarded Miata, got that running, got it back on track, and then one of their new guys promptly wadded that. Well, didn't wad it up, but did some heavy damage to it as well. There was a GMC Caballero, which was fantastic. They were struggling with teething problems all weekend. Just a great group of your regulars. Wonderful time. Always have fun down there. Sajeev, Eric, one of our best times judging. Early on, when the Battle Scarred guys came up and they decided they were going to tech the car. They had their own judging outfits, their own staff shirts that they'd all made. And Dale was so impressed, he walked over and put his hat on one of the president of the Texas chapter.
I love Dale, but I don't think I want that hat on my head.
That hat is magic. It's like Frosty the Snowman's hat.
Yeah. It's alive. That's what it is. It's all right. It sounds like it was fantastic. Yeah, great time at MSR Houston, and thanks for everybody who put what they thought MSR meant in our listener feedback on our website and everything on our social media. And what a good time to say listener feedback time.
On the Facebooks and the Grams, there's a posted inspired thoughts to tonight's main topic. Al Jones said, "Hey, this is one of those houses I'd probably drive by and say, there are a lot of hopes and dreams in that driveway." Looking at Mental's house, DeWitt Timber added broken hopes and dreams.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep. Greg O'Brien posted an excerpt from the recent team meeting. No, but seriously, 3 of them are like my heart limit.
These are all in response to my now 2 Porsche 924.
2 Porsche 944.
Right.
Speaking of Greg and Cheese Bolt, he posted up a picture of a wrecked IS 300 and basically said it's about to get exciting in Cheese Bolt land. And I said, hey, good job for not picking a BMW. And he reminded me that we are actually the reason that he got the car. He posted on show 207, which was our live 200th show celebration, whatever. Don't worry about the numbers. Just, it was our live show. He said, quote, after sleeping on it at this time, my ideal build would be a 2000s era Lexus IS 300 with a 300 horsepower, naturally aspirated 2JZ, no shit, and an M6 trans. I was very intrigued by the E1R description of driving the Cressida. I would try and duplicate that experience by using the later platform for Cheaties 2.0 and try and get it down under 2,600 pounds. Uncle Dave, you have a fan out there, and he's building an IS 300.
I had one at New Hampshire. There was an IS 300 that was doing quite well. And that was with the auto. So
yeah, they gave that Class B. Yeah, right.
Good at that.
Oh, and where did it finish?
Yeah,
it was fast. Anyway,
until it broke.
Yeah,
it's almost like we've done this before.
2JZ, no way.
2JZ, yeah. I'll just go real quick. Justin Whitburn was more upbeat with a simple, hey, Mental, swap it. He said he wants to hear you bang gears like risky business.
He also added that, we could totally do that like a drug over a Lemons weekend, which I don't doubt.
It's your turn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's still
it's my turn. Burglar Aaron posted the music video from Roger Allen Wade with the song titled "If You're Gonna Be Dumb, You Gotta Be Tough." And I quote, because 928 ownership could have been a skit in Jackass. He's also not wrong.
Go like this.
Back up 1 inch, buddy.
Scott Hedrick was also on Mental side. In high school, I wanted an S4 so bad, had the picture on the wall and all. LOL.
And 3D printing genius Cameron L simply posted a picture of an intervention.
Yeah.
He donated some amazing 3D printed roll cage tools, including a bend radius calculator, as well as a slide it over a pipe and using
and you
rods.
could mark it. Yeah.
Exactly. It'll give you the exact fish mouth cut you need, or he's got inserts with a handheld laser pointer that'll tell you where it's going on the cage if you're trying to do it from across.
That's really technical.
Distance.
We like a pizza box, a coat hanger, and some what do you call those protractor things with the magnet on it that magnet falls off and then the thing spins around. Yeah, that's what we like.
So Mental, you have all these things now?
Yes. Yeah. You keep going. I'll bring those back.
Yeah, he showed it to us at a former show.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about caging the Civic the new Civic. And
Yeah, send them over. Bring them to PRI. We'll take them.
Perhaps we shall borrow those.
Yes.
They are coming with me. Absolutely.
Gnome Hammer on the Instagram said, I didn't know Porsches were related to tribbles, since they were reproducing in your yard, I guess. And Dr. Florida Man said, as someone who is aware of what it takes to keep front rear Porsches running, you're going to need about 3 more.
In our suggestions of other MSR abbreviations, Eric K had My Southern Racetrack. Murica says race. Murica sure is racy. Murica sends rednecks, mostly sand and roadkill.
I like mostly sand and roadkill. That's great.
And finally, My Sweet Raceway.
Oh, that's good.
They were good.
Metzel, do you want to say hi to Chrissy's mom? I thought you were running to get the parts.
I was going to run to get the parts. I'm sorry, but but then you guys.
We'll look at them later.
Yeah, we don't need them right now.
I'm trying to come up with how to relate.
Just don't.
Yeah, Mom's super ridiculously awesome cookies. That's
there you go.
There you go.
That works.
Good job.
Hi, Mom.
Alrighty then. Does anyone have an intro for this? I don't mean that. I mean, does anyone want to intro the topic? I'll do it. If not.
Chris kind of.
Yeah, you picked it. Why don't you do it?
We've all made some terrible decisions.
Terrible decisions.
For example, you're listening to this podcast. Terrible decision. We all have racing as a hobby. It's a terrible
decision.
Really. So let's share some of these terrible decisions to make us all feel a little better, laughing at everyone else's misfortune. And it's commiserating. It's laughing with you at it. So make you feel a little better about it. So we're going to talk about some just bad automotive decisions that we and that some of our listeners have made, because I mean, hell, we've got plenty and we've got Mental on our show. So I mean, he's got enough for everybody. He's got extras like, hey, do you need a bad decision? Hey, he's handing them out.
It's like Halloween candy. It was exactly. Like, hey, you want a Snickers and a Porsche?
A bad decision, right?
I was thinking it was like Oprah. You get a bad decision, and you get a bad decision. You get a terrible car, and you get a broken car. I came up with some categories because I feel like we all have plenty, and I figured it might help focus us if we had some categories. So
sure.
Let's talk about that thing that you did when you were young and stupid, because young breeds 2 things that make bad automotive decisions. 3 things. Lack of money.
Okay.
A complete and utter pie in the sky convinced that you're going to be able to fix it and make it work. And of course, lack of sense. You just have the experience is not there. You're like, yeah, I could take that apart. No,
you just haven't been beat down enough. By
exactly. You don't have a realistic view of life. So there it is. Who wants to go first? I could. I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah. Then what is that on your shirt, Jeff?
That's about a 76.
It's bad.
Sorry, bad podcast.
Bad
that
radio,
is my blip shift shirt of the 1976. I had a 1973 International Harvester Scout 2. I bought it when I was 17 and a half or 18ish, whatever, and I drove it daily through college, through grad school. I daily drove it way too long. And I think that's really was my mistake. It wasn't a mistake purchasing it as a first car. I really enjoyed it. Had learned a lot. But you just really can't commute an hour and 15 minutes, 56 miles. I looked it up, through the halls of Western PA, back and forth between my grad assistantship and my graduate classes. I was literally gassing myself on the exhaust fumes every day before I went to class. I looked at my notes like a couple years afterwards, and like there would just be spots where it was very clear that I kind of like passed out and my pen just like laid on the, and it would like make like a pool. I rented a car because I broke a thermostat. I broke a bolt in the thermostat, and I got to class and I was like, I'm so awake today. I feel so smart. It's so much easier to pay attention. And I went, oh crap, I'm gassing myself. So yeah, that's my young and stupid.
Did it have a radio?
Yeah. Of course it did.
That's not even fair. With any of these conversations, you cannot say, of course, duh. Yeah. Like what? That's not.
Keep asking. Did it have heat that worked? Meh. Did it have windshield wipers? Meh. Okay. Did it have windshield sprayers? Nope. Did it have any insulation?
Most of the time.
I did have the top on, but no insulation. The windows didn't really close, right? It was freezing cold the entire time.
I had a similar Suzuki Samurai, and I've talked about it before when I was in college, and the heater worked, but the fan didn't. So it was fine as long as you were moving, but if you get stuck in traffic, the windows would frost over.
Yeah.
The exhaust fell off of it as I drove it away from the place I bought it from, and I just never bothered to go and get it back.
Well, and this isn't your first mistake. This is just an additional story on a bad car.
No, this was, I'm in college and I'm broke and I need something to get me. And it was $300.
Samurai is never the right answer.
I paid $1,100.
I remember getting hit with rocks as I would drive because the fender wells were rusted out and it would just throw rocks at my head.
All right. This is the best story of my Scout. I got to tell it this weekend. This is in undergrad, not in grad school. I'm driving around in Long Branch, New Jersey, near the shore. And there's something stinging the top of my knee, right? Like it feels like a mosquito or no, but it's harder and I'm smacking. It's like, ow, it's really hurting, like a bee. There's a bee or something. I better pull over. And I pull over and, I have some hair on my legs. And there's solder in the hair of my legs. Something was shorting out underneath the dash and dropping hot solder on the top of my knee.
We haven't made it through the first section of the first topic.
This is why this is a good topic. It's great.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, Mental, you go with yours.
So because we mentioned him earlier, Cameron Lopez Ponte-Sitter talking about just being young and stupid. He decided when he was young, he was going to make a living as a mechanic because he liked working on cars and he was an enthusiast. And after a very few years, he started to hate working on his own cars and a hatred of the automotive hobby, which I think occasionally we'll hear Aaron go off on that one. And he got a brutal understanding of pointless modifications, life, and planning for the future. Quote, glad I was able to pursue a different career and come back to the car hobby happy. And I had run out over there and gotten several things that he donated to us. These are designed to fit onto swimming pool poles. And these are a modification of his previous 3D printed, which now we have pit crew signs. So when we're pulling down pit row, you'll be able to hold a sign.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. I'm making a sign.
And so we have those. He also has these, which you slide over the tubes, and there are tiny holes, which you can do the rods, and that'll give you the exact measurement of your fish mouth cut using a rubber band on the other end. Additionally, he has these inserts here, which fit inside these, and you put a handheld laser pointer as you slide this over there, and it tells you exactly where it's going, and I'm holding all these up. So we have multiple versions of this, and this is our bend radius.
Oh, that is way too technical,
right? It's like a pizza box, but made out of plastic,
and it's got spots to hold the bits of roll cage to me, so you see how it fits.
Exactly. Yes. And our favorite modification, we gave these to a lot of cars, so he actually gave us an entire bag of these, and these are valve stem covers that all look like
they look like
little
dicks.
They look like little tiny cannons.
Rocket ships
with balls.
Little tiny rocket ships. So yes,
fire.
so literally he gave us a bag of dicks.
I would rock them on my daily any day.
I'm sure you would.
So,
all right, Mental.
Let's
talk about your
my big one. I had a first generation RX-7 that I
had no idea you had magic spinning triangles ever in your life.
4 times actually. So I had a first generation RX-7, and on my way back from Mississippi, on my way to Atlanta before I moved to Germany, the rear end came out of it, and I limped it into a gas station in the middle of nowhere between Mobile and Montgomery, Alabama. And the guy offered to put in a new rear end for $300 that he had just gotten from the junkyard, and I was so arrogant that I was convinced I could fix it for cheaper before I left for Germany, and I ended up having to abandon that car. And it's a shame because it was a great car, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. It had a Holly 4-barrel on it, and it was a terrible car, but I loved it. And that's just, that's my young arrogant story. Now I'm old and arrogant, and I do a lot of dumb things like buy Porsches, but that was just one of those.
Okay.
Know what the limits are, and you're probably not better than the professional, especially when the professional's offering to make you a really nice deal. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chrissy. Go,
Okay.
Chrissy.
I think
Okay,
Chrissy's
okay.
got a great one.
Well, I don't know if it's a great one. So, my first car was a 2000 Golf, VW. And so my dad is he is all into Consumer Reports and aficionado, I'd say. He gets all of them. He gets the online version. So, Volkswagen is right
About
up there.
What year was this? To give context to the 2000 Golf.
Was it,
It was the 2000. What year did you get it? How old
yeah, I'm
was it?
trying to think.
Because I'm like
I'm
2000.
gonna say like 05, maybe.
This is pre-Corrado,
No.
post Corrado. Oh,
No, this is pre-Corrado.
okay.
Give me a second. I don't
Okay,
know.
take the
It
year you
wasn't-
were
the
born.
point is,
Add
it
17.
wasn't that old.
No, it wasn't
Okay.
that old. I graduated.
The math.
I'm trying to do
is
the
very-
math, right? No, yeah, I'm like,
Numbers
when
are
I go?
hard.
I mean, it's
No, it must have been 04?
Oh, so it was only like 4 years old.
04. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
2000 Golf, and it was 04, right? Because I'm trying to think it was before 05. And so my dad's in Consumer Reports. He says, here's the money, get a car. And so I know it must have been like 2003. And so I'm 18, right? Yeah.
you're older than that.
Oh, two.
04, you're 20, sweetie. Math
Okay,
is
fine.
not your strong point tonight, I guess.
I'm just trying to think of where I was at the
Yeah.
time and what year it was. Anyway, he gave me the money and he was like,
How
yeah, you
bad
were.
it was. She has blocked it from her mind.
I
It was a
tried.
blank spot.
He said, don't get it. And if this like, 2000 is like the worst year of that was a Mark IV. It's the worst. The check engine was on the whole time. And it was, so basically he was like, don't get it. And I was like, I'm cool. I could get it. I love Volkswagens because my ex is into Volkswagens. And so he said, yeah, this is great. It'll be
I'm an
fine.
old man.
Right? What do you know? I've just Consumer Reports says no. I think it broke down all the time. I carry G60 coolant with me all the time. I'd have to pull over halfway to places to refill the coolant because it had a coolant leak the whole time. It never had the check engine light off. Anyway, it made me learn early, so I was breaking down all the time. And of course, at that point, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm learning by fire. So yeah. Oh, no fire. I'm sorry. Learning by trial by error, rather. No fire. Go ahead, Chris.
So my this is not about my first car, it's about my second car. My first car is the 1960 MGA, still actually technically own over in the garage somewhere, but it was too nice. I didn't want to drive in the winter. Also, the poor heat and lack of any real windows or a ceiling top that because those are features on an MGA. Said I need something else to drive to school, and because my mom still needed to use her Civic wagon sometimes. So ended up with a 1969 MGB GT.
What color was it? I need to know.
It was maroon, or it had been maroon at one point, which is great because it hid the rust that it had, which was
so it matched. So the whole color was just air quotes rust.
Yeah, it was
got
great.
it.
The car actually ran really well and had a bit of a hot cam in it, and I fixed the overdrive transmission, so it had fifth gear, so the thing would happily cruise at 80. I just was young and ignorant and dumb of like, this is great. And I, didn't really, like that, but bad.
But terrible, right?
Terrible, right. But
Well, you found the pretty one though.
But you also found it on the site that we don't like anymore.
That's all right.
But when those are in good nick, they are lovely. They're pretty. They're nice cars to drive. They got a big hatchback. They're really practical, quick enough, fun. But I didn't do things very well at first, like, check the tires much. So I'm tooling along home from the Cape one day at 80. And the the tread just rips off one of the tires.
Yeah, just delaminates, whatever.
Don't need
wraps
that.
itself around the axle. So I'm just going along, and all of a sudden, bang! As the tread is now hitting the underside of the car and tearing the brake lines off of the wide axle.
Yeah, there it is.
I turn into the median in the middle of the road on the left because it's the nearest thing to go from, right? And you don't notice when you're going up Route 24 in Massachusetts that there are these big drainage ditches every once in a while on that. And as I bounced through two of them before I could really get to a stop, because of course that wheel now had no tread, so it was slick, so it would lock up immediately, and the car would then slide sideways.
It's not exactly a safe car to crash in either.
No,
it's made out of like
It's
Diet Coke cans.
Right.
You're gonna die anyway.
So I get it stopped and check for a pulse and make sure the seat's not too dirty. I did have a spare tire. It did have air in it. I even had a knockoff thing for the wheel, but I didn't have a hammer to hit the knockoff wrench with.
Why would you?
So I had to use the jack as a hammer to loosen the wheel first.
It's fine.
So then jack the car up. Anyway, but then I proceeded to drive it the rest of the way home to the Cape with no brake. From the Cape with no brakes.
Yeah,
it's fine.
In there.
Shifting.
You plan ahead.
You're fine.
I stopped and bought some brake fluid. I put it in every once in a
It
while.
would pour right out.
Well, you'd get a couple pumps, which is all you needed. I eventually, this car went through some adventures as you'd imagine in a teenager. I definitely had my friend Paul in the back of the MGB with Craig in the front,
which is kind of a hatch, right? It's a two-seater hatch.
But he's kind of lying there. I definitely raced a Mark II Jetta with it and won.
Why is Paul still your friend after stuffing him in the back of that thing?
He probably thought it was hilarious.
And no one else could drive it. So if that car eventually succumbed to rust when the driver's seat basically fell through the floor.
That's about time to let it
go. Yeah.
And then I actually sold it back to the guy I bought it from, who was one in the MG club, a nice guy. And he used that motor and actually a HPDE car that he had, and said it's a great motor. And I was like, yeah, I know, it was fantastic. Oh well, this is about doing dumb things. That was dumb stuff.
That was pretty dumb.
Hey, there's a couple good comments about British love down there. Do you want to pull any of those?
I mean, there's some. Greg had an Austin America. Brett H had an MG once. Jamie Palmer had an XJS.
Oh gosh,
not enough. No.
Mark B had an MGB GT, wrecked it driving it to its new owner. Man, so everyone's got all kinds of terrors of horrible British regret. Oh well.
Oh, that's a lot.
All right, so let's go to our next one.
All right, so sometimes we endanger our lives when we do stupid things with the vehicle. Sometimes we get it right in the pocketbook. Let's talk about our big money mistakes. Like maybe the one that we didn't die from, but we almost went bankrupt.
But we wish we had died from.
But yeah, maybe.
So much.
Sometimes die is better. Mental, do you want to do yours first?
Sure. So and we did this show. I bought the rally Cadillac that wasn't. Didn't spend that much on the rally Cadillac. Then spent a small fortune just all the little stuff so that I wouldn't die on the way to Texas. So it had new tires, a new battery, new brakes, everything to keep it safe. And then we spent all night wrapping it, and then it made it 90 miles before it had to go live on a farm in Arizona. And for the 1 year only alternator that GM insisted the stupid car have, that went bad on us. And yes, that one even in the world of dumb things that I've got more money in that Cadillac than I do in Porsches right now.
Oh,
that's sad.
It's sad.
I'm paging through our Instagram right now, trying to find a picture of it because I know it's there.
I'll take the next one.
Okay, go ahead.
Rotating this up. Mine is not one of losing money because I'm pretty good at not losing money on cars.
Yeah, I know.
Works out pretty well. But I have one where
that's because you're the rational one.
I lost the opportunity to make money. This is when I was in my 20s living in Connecticut, and I found a guy selling a cosmetically rough but not rusty and mechanically quite good 76 911S Targa.
Oh.
and I had a deal to buy it for $5,000.
Oh,
And
what
I
year was
backed
this?
out. So this was in probably 05.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember
it had a 2.7, which was not very well liked, but it had been rebuilt and it looked good and wasn't leaking much.
You knew me. Why didn't you call and say, "Hey, Jeff, how would you like a
Good.
1976
And when
911?"
we met,
you wouldn't have bought it. You both of you're
Yeah.
full of crap, because I remember getting ready to go to South America around that time frame,
Oops.
knowing that I was coming back. Yeah, there's the
Oh yeah, I was waiting till we're done the story.
knowing that I was going to come back with a pocket full of money and seeing stuff like that and go $5,000 for 76. I'm not paying that for a 2.7 liter. That thing's a pile of crap.
Yeah.
when Chris and I met, I was like, that's like my dream car. And I just told him like, oh, what's your favorite car? And I was like, oh, I love older 911s. He was like, oh, like,
Oh,
no.
You know what I bought
like,
instead? Sandy the Disco.
not
my
a
wife,
bitch.
to whip my wife is still grateful.
Which
That was
I will not
wonderful
say
truck.
that didn't work out well, because that Land Rover served me very well for a long time and served Mental well. But had I bought that 911,
you'd be cooler.
I mean, that was the bottom. That was the bottom
Yeah.
of the market.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a running, driving, needed some body work. Interior was tired, but $5,000.
That was Bitcoin. That was like early Bitcoin.
Right?
Yeah.
Instead of the MG that we have in our garage still,
Yeah.
swap
Yeah,
that. Ta-da!
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
No, because
All right.
he totally would have sold me the 911 after Hurricane Sandy.
That's good. That's true.
It's true.
All right, here's Mental's Cadillac.
It's beautiful.
That's the start. But yes, go.
Oh.
It does have the new tires on it by then. That was great.
Oh. All right, who's doing the next story? Want me to go? I'll
There
go.
you go.
Sure.
So this one is the big money mistake. My wife had I believe it was an 05 Subaru Legacy GT 2.5 liter turbo, 5-speed, all leather. She was trying to keep up with the Joneses and their BMWs, and we lived in a very snowy environment. And that thing was
Bought that new, right?
yeah, bought it new, fresh.
Yeah.
Went to the Subaru
And
dealer.
that was a hot car when it was
Hot car, cross shop to
Yeah.
Mazda Speed 6. It was awesome. She had a great time. So anyway, she called me and she was at work and she said, I'm right here. Mental's texting me.
Sorry, I was trying to do it subtle.
Oh, okay. Undo screen share. I already did that, did I?
No, you've clicked on your screen that has this, so everyone's going to see.
I apologize.
Sorry.
Let me. Oh no, I think it's frozen.
Someone else
'cause I
needs to
don't
tell the story while Mental does that.
There we go.
Chris,
No,
you
no.
wanna do yours while they're.
Sorry. All right. There we go.
You
Okay, sorry.
Okay, you should see us, right?
Yes. I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
2.5 Legacy GT. My wife calls me at work and she says, check engine light, come on. And it sounds like there's bees under the hood. And it doesn't seem to have the power it used to have. And I said, just don't worry about it. Drive it home. She's like, you come drive it home. So I drove to her work and we switched cars and I pistol whipped it for the 30-mile commute, including straight up the mountain, turbo boosting the whole way, because I had a little tiny crappy protege and she had a big fast car. And I was like, this thing sounds great. And right when I got near home, about a couple blocks away, the motor started clicking and clacking like you wouldn't believe, like spun bearing sound. And it turns out the turbo center bearing was dead and dying. And when I was pistol whipping it, the impeller went into the turbo body and threw a bunch of metal in the motor, and it had 77,000 miles on it and a 75,000 mile warranty, and it still had
Oh, that is the bad day.
it still had years of payments left on it. The motor replacement failed. It was so new that there weren't motors available, so the only used motor I could get. It immediately threw codes for the Vanos system or whatever Subaru calls it. And I took it to a second mechanic to check it out because I didn't trust the guy who installed it. And they said, have you ever changed the oil in this motor ever? And I said, I just put this motor in. He said, it's really gummy. Oh, this was bad. We ended up trading it in. I like the black on my soul. I will someday spend days in purgatory for this. I reset the check engine lights on the way to the Ford dealership to trade it on my wife's Ford SUV, which she drove many years. We were so upside down. I believe the next 2 or 3 cars still had some residual value of the Subaru in the loan.
I have continued to make payments on cars that don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it was
Several
bad.
times.
It was bad.
Oh, did you traded in? It wasn't cash for clunkers time, was it? Well, it's not a clunker. It's new.
No, it wasn't. It was
No,
new. Not
that's
a
a
clunker
shame.
at all.
Yeah, never mind. We might have done that on one car. Brought for cash for clunkers. That might have happened.
It ran fine when we did it.
Yeah.
It was definitely reset the light and drive directly to the dealer. It was a family member car, not ours. Anyway, mine is a supercharged Corrado SLC. I bought it at a time when I was eating ramen. My ex-husband and I had been just bought a condo. And
What color was it?
it was green. It was like a show car. It had wide fender flares. It had huge BBS staggered rims, all the things we could not afford at the time, but it's a beautiful car. Still love it. Still, want one, then we can put a, K-swap in it or something. But we were terrified to drive it because it had like, it wasn't pokey wheels, but it definitely had like low profile. So we just didn't want to replace any of it. And I'm pretty sure both of us were driving a long way. It looks like that. Just,
Different wheels, right?
Except
Different wheels, yeah.
No, but BBS basket weaves, they are the hotness.
Yeah.
Still to this day, they just hit me right in the feels.
I think they might have been 2-piece too. Like they were like stupid expensive. So we took a lot of really great pictures of it, just like stanced in the Hanover Square, actually, like in the town square. So we took a lot of great pictures with it, but it definitely had I believe the quarter panels were flared.
Stop searching for cars on that site. Search for those cars exist on Racing Junk.
They're easier to find on there.
No, that's just using Google image search. So
I'm positive we had it for I don't even know how long, a year or two, and I'm sure we lost money on selling it. So just one of those things you just don't buy when you're young and don't have that kind of money. Don't buy show cars. Is really what it comes down to.
I would be stunned if there is not a listener of this podcast that has not eaten ramen while they had way too much car in the driveway.
It doesn't mean it's any of it.
Doesn't mean
smart.
it's a good idea.
It's not good.
No, but everyone's like, yeah, that was really dumb. But
Yeah.
everyone went, but I totally did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the thing.
There's some listeners who sold some terrible things or didn't buy something and it still haunts them today. Matt A didn't buy an 89 Skyline for 10 grand a few years ago.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's early
Wow.
Bitcoin there.
Yes.
Somebody sold their 59. James P sold their 59 Healy 3000 GT.
Well, that was a good move. So
Oh,
3,000 GT.
But they sound so good when they're good, and Rodney has the tale of woe. He sold a 68 Vet, a 68 Camaro RSSS, his 70 C10 454 4-speed,
That's awesome.
Chevelle, SS, a 1950 DeSoto Hemi, all of this before he was 25.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yep.
He was eating ramen.
Yeah, seriously. All right, let's go on. Next category.
Somebody throw Matt's comment in there too.
All right, we'll do Matt F.
Yeah.
Matt Farinchek of Silent but Deadly whatever motorsport.
Squatting
Matt
dogs and
Farinchek,
tracksuits.
Squatting Dogs and Tracksuits. Love all of his names. Selling his ownership in his 68 400 4-speed Firebird. Brother got the license. They had to share it. He sold his half.
That's funny.
Oh, don't do that. Anyway, and this brings up the next topic because brothers were introduced. There's sometimes that our stupid mistake hurt other people. Maybe it's a spouse. Maybe it's that relative you gave advice to. Maybe someone's like, hey, can you fix this? And then you totally blow it. Let's talk about the stupid mistakes we made automotively that may or may not have spilled onto somebody we loved. Chrissy's laughing.
I wrote in yours. Go ahead.
I mostly kept my stupidity to myself, but I had a friend. I did his brake pads, and I'm trying to. I remember being angry about something completely unrelated, but I don't remember what that thing was. And I slapped these brake rotors on there, and he kept coming to me all the next week. And the car's making a grinding noise. I'm like, just turn your radio up. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And he was a really nice friend. I finally got in there, and as I pulled the wheel off and I reached behind it to grab the brake pads, I'm like, wow, I am a giant a-hole because I put the brake pads on backwards.
Did you admit it?
I did, and this is how nice he was. Is he chuckled about it, how it did not score the hell out of those rotors, or he just didn't run into somebody else. Is just, my infamous phrase about God loves fools, drunks, in the military, and I'm all three. So
what do you mean by backwards? Like backing plate towards the disc, or like left side?
How do you even do
inside
that?
of the rotor and the outside?
The shape is the same.
To the disc, piston pushing on the material.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
They look.
Have you thought about? Were you wearing your glasses? Were you sober at the time?
Didn't need glasses. May have not been sober. The cigarette smoke might have gotten in my eyes because I was always smoking back then. So
there you go. Chrissy, I'm intrigued that you said you wrote my story because
it's fun.
I was just gonna say my wife loved that Subaru, and that was what hurt the people I loved. So.
I can't believe that none of, I'm giving spoiler alert, that none of so you mentioned actually timeliness is really good on this one, that you mentioned at the top of this section that a lot of it's talking about your brother.
Oh yeah.
A lot of your decisions spill over to your brother.
Sure.
Okay. Why is Connie not listed in this list of things that you have purchased that should have killed you and Chris and I and your brother? Because you have so many stories of your Babe Rally cars that hurt other people. People should be dead.
We definitely had to dodge parts falling off while it was going well. This is for everyone not that doesn't know the story. This is a 73 Lincoln Continental that Jeff had.
That I bought for the Big Apple to Big Easy rally, New York to New Orleans, in a car that you buy for $250. Might have been $500 at that point because they went up and down.
People took it.
Journalist, you had a journalist ride.
I did.
Yeah, and then you had your best friends sitting behind you because their car broke down, and I wanted to die that night.
Connie is a whole story in it itself. I think we've covered it here when we talked about the rally. We
probably have, but I can't believe that is not a bad purchase that you might regret or hurt other people or anything of any of these topics.
I kind of think most Babe Rally cars are done on a dare, and the best ones are the worst ones.
Okay.
So I don't regret Connie.
That's fine, but the one that hurt others, I feel like that fit.
At a race, that is a story to ask Jeff at 9:00 at night.
Oh yeah, because it's going to take about an hour.
Yeah.
You might have to pull up the note that gives HJ.
I do. I have the notes. I have the notes in my Facebook page. I can find it in any minute.
I know. So I had to bring that up, and I feel like that put that one in there.
I'll ask Jim if he regrets Connie. I don't think.
Connie is definitely one of those. You go on safari. And
that's right.
The hippo flips your boat, and the monkey steals your lunch, and you get chased by the lion, and you get a sunburn.
But you were on safari.
Right.
You had a good time.
Oh, all right. So I take it back. Regret is not the right word in that sentence. It is that one hurt others.
It probably hurt others. You're right. Okay. Go ahead. Do you have one? I don't know.
No. I just thought I couldn't even come up with one after besides not listening to my father about buying the Golf. I can't come up with anything that I have told people to not get. And I think Chris is going to have a similar problem.
Anything either. Like I've fortunately been smart enough to do things mostly properly and no real big mistakes. The thing I didn't fix for the longest time that still bothers me is when Chrissy's car just felt loose in the rear end on a corner, and over
like
jumps.
scary loose, right? Like it would
Like,
kind of like
it was predictably, it would just
it would
turn.
go like it would, yeah. It was
And
not good.
it felt like something in the rear. I replaced all the control arms and bushings in the rear. I did check the alignment, did all kinds of stuff. Eventually found there was a slightly loose pinch bolt on the ball joint to the front steering knuckle on the right hand side that was allowing the ball joint to move by about half an inch up and down, which changed the dynamic toe of the whole front end. And it took me forever to figure that out. And
That's
it
not
could have
a
been dangerous.
that's not a failure of arrogance. That is a obscure, deeply hidden problem that most people literally would have, whatever the steering equivalent of turning up your stereo is, they would have driven it for years like that.
Oh, we drove for a long time.
You did, but you talked about it on the show. You're like, well, I'm still trying to diagnose this clunk on the Mazda. So you didn't ignore it. I mean, that's just a challenge.
He wasn't allowed to ignore it. I was like, it's still broken and it's
was
not good to drive. Let's try to do more on this here.
By the way, this is now our race car.
Yeah.
For those of you who are
Jeff and I-
listening at home.
Yeah. Jeff and I would still be driving that car to this day, or we would have told our significant others.
I don't
"You're-
know.
it's
The nice
you,
thing
it's
about
not
it,
the
though-
car, bruh."
The nice thing is that I did replace all the bushings in the rear end, like fairly
Trying
late in
to
the
find
car's
it.
life. Right, so that really tightened it up really nicely.
Which is
actually.
great because it's now your race car. So now
Exactly.
all of those bushings
Exactly,
are
yeah.
good on the
Good.
car that you're
Absolutely.
driving.
Yep. Good. All right, next.
All right. So we obviously wrench on our cars. We just don't give advice. We just don't buy stupid things like 914s and 928s. We make wrenching errors. Metzel's already mentioned one of his, but man, he's got another one.
Well, what Chris put in there, half the cars you've had, the towing of the 633 with a utility trailer behind a Hyundai Santa Fe. From Michigan
That's
to
a
Oklahoma.
story that I wanted to hear
That
on the
is-
show.
that's a great story. Those cars, rather like the 928s. If I have to them all up tomorrow and throw them away, I've gotten my money's worth out of these, or what I wanted out of these 928s. So the reason I threw this in there, buddy gave me an impossibly rust-free Honda CVCC. I had access to a fuel injected, or what was the first fuel injected Honda Civic engine? I want to say it was a 1.5. But I had an entire subframe of 1.5.
Yeah, it was from the third gen Civic. It was the third gen Civic SI was the first fuel injected one ever.
Okay.
It's 85.
It was going to be this great car. I had all of the parts given to me, and I got it all taken down to bare metal and was really working on it. But I got into a situation where I had to clear out a bunch of projects and get stuff to go. I had a military thing, and my friend had given me this car trying to get me to build this really cool project. And I ended up having to hack the whole thing apart and take it all to the scrapper. And I feel bad about that because he gave it to me on good faith. That's the one that bothers me as far as project creep, which I get project creep a lot, and I just kind of accept it at my age of during this phase. Even if I don't get to the running, driving car, did I learn something? Did I do something? Did I improve myself while I was on these projects? And that's my expectations going into some of them. And sometimes the answer to that is still no. So that's where I come to, like, that towing adventure was an adventure, and I learned a lot. And I learned a lot about how to load a trailer. I learned a lot about proper tow vehicles. I'm still not the best at it, but I am certainly safer now towing than I was when I did that. And at that time, I remember when we left Oklahoma, I had to trash a 280Z 2+2, that BMW. Also a Triumph TR4, which I had a few $100s in, and a BMW E30 that I had taken down to almost bare metal, trying to turn it into a race car, just overextending myself. I still suffer from that, but I'm a lot more realistic going into these problems, learning all that. But the CVCC bothered me because it was my buddy Paul, and I at the end I kind of felt like I betrayed him. Kind of like you guys wanted to be very particular about the Corvette because it was coming from a good friend, and you have been. And regardless of what happens to that Corvette now, you feel you have honored the gift, if that makes any sense.
It's also our only project. So you just listed off about 85 different cars that you had.
Wait,
so
that's not our only project. How many?
No. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, we don't have that many. You worked on one. We have other car issues and cars things to fix, but we don't have that many like projects.
Oh yes. So you guys don't have something that literally, you have to come home in a trailer and is going to take you a year to get running. And
that's what I'm getting at.
And I have like 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
I was going to say, we all know about Miracle the Miata. So I bought Miracle Miata for $200. It was every bit of a $200 Mustang. It was rust holding hands.
Miata, you mean?
Miata.
Yeah.
It was fantastic for everything it did. I took it out I drove it to work. I drove the freaking wheels off of it. It was terrible, but it was wonderful, terrible. And then I said, I'll turn it into a track monster. And I replaced everything. And I just kept replacing. This is the true definition of polishing the turd. The 1.6 was tired. The chassis was very rusty. And I replaced everything on it. And it was a worse car when I gave it to my nephew. Sure, it's faster on the track, but it's terrible everywhere else, and it's not even a good track car, because if you push it, it'll crush. It'll just fold in itself, and if you crash, you're gonna die, and if you drive it hard, it overheats.
Right.
So
and you can't put your arm on the
I don't know why you concerned yourself with that. I knew that from the beginning, and it
bothers me when I put my arm on the door. I get tetanus. It's like
yes.
Chrissy, clearly your car has never melted solder onto your leg.
I clearly
Yeah,
and Chrissy spent a lot of miles in a $500 Miata too.
Dude, I know.
Better than yours.
It had no interior. It was a little better than yours.
But when you cut the floor and make the stock seat never go in again, and you have to live on the Kirky, and you pull all the carpet out, and now it's just no longer a car that is good on the street. And that's what I did.
Stop at Kirky.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I did that to a Miata, and I drove it to an autocross, which was like 12 miles, because it was ultimately my first non-3 Pedal Mafia Lemons car. And I remember getting out of it after driving like 12 miles ago. One day I'm going to try and drive this car really far in this Kirk.
No.
I want all of you to punch me when I do, because already my butt hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Even with the seat, with the cushion, like even if you have the cushion, it's still not.
And Kirky's a wonderful seat. Don't get us wrong; they should totally sponsor us, but do not traverse street roads in a Kirky.
Especially not the cheap Kirky that everyone gets.
Yeah, that's
the good Kirkys
exactly.
are quite nice, but we're ducking the cheap Kirkys.
Yeah. I drove from Atlanta to New Jersey and back in my Sparko, and it was fine.
Yeah,
still a long drive. Go ahead, Chris.
I once took on a project that was too big, and this was in college. I was building Honda race cars for people, or fun street cars, and a friend of mine who had been doing the same thing previously, but now had a previous client that he had that wanted a monster of a Civic Si. And I agreed to take it on. But then between the time I agreed to take it on and the time I actually got it, the two of them had talked it up way bigger and into the worlds of things that I wasn't used to or comfortable doing. And it was outside of my scope of stuff. It took a year. I still didn't get it quite done. And it was just a shame for everybody involved. I mean, we're talking built motor, big turbo, all custom piping, all custom wiring, all custom everything. It's a project that I would look at now and go, yeah, I can do it, but that's a big project compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah. Did you say you were in college at the time?
Yeah.
So you have to go to classes and all that other stuff in between. Yeah.
And
but when you're in your 20s, you're like, I don't need sleep. I don't need food.
It was one thing doing motor swaps and, put a bolt-on turbo kit on stuff. Like, great, I can do all that, fine. But the level of work and fab on this thing was way beyond what I could do in the time I had to do it. And I got way over my head, and I struggled to get out of it. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't bad at the end, but it wasn't pretty. and it took up a lot of time that I could have been doing other things.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot.
All right, Chrissy, do you have anything on this one? If not, we're gonna go to some listeners.
I do.
Oh, go on.
So I used to buy a lot of, I with my ex-husband used to buy a lot of Volkswagens. Well, one time we bought a shell that was like a pretty clean shell, not a whole lot of rust. And so I'm sorry, Mark 1 jet, Golf. I'm not sure if I said that. Mark 1 Golf. We removed all of the sound deadening. We were going to make it basically like a race car or, autocross car. And, we did a lot of work to prep it. We painted it. We did all this stuff. And we had another car that we were going to swap everything into. Well, the swapping into didn't happen. It was all of we can use the engine from that car and the parts from this car or for the other, parts on this shelf. And we didn't know how to weld or none of these things bolted in. And, it was just one of those projects where just we didn't know how to make, I don't know how to fab. I didn't know how to do any of these things. We just thought you could just, stick on parts. And so it never happened.
How hard can it be?
So we sold a beautiful shell that was painted with all of the sound deadening removed and everything, all the wiring and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Somebody probably got a good one. Got it. They got exactly what they wanted out of that sort of thing.
I hope so.
We all have to serve in various parts of this the
evolution,
life cycle of a car, that gets stripped down to a shell, because now we're at the other end of that spectrum where we're deliberately looking for stuff like that. I mean, isn't that the replacement for Godzilla? Was somebody gutted a Honda and this will be perfect.
Yep. And I'm going to need a roller for the Z. So
Mm-hmm.
there it is. Randy Bish sent in a story. He decided he needed a manual V8 car, so he bought a Fox body Mustang. The project came completely disassembled and stored in milk crates.
The best way to get a car.
Yeah,
but he was getting 2 cars worth of parts for the price of 3.
Together by Sunday.
That's right.
Fine.
He says buying someone else's project is a nightmare, but it did assemble some of the League of Legitimate Nigerian Businessmen core members for the first time. So I say that's lose-lose all around, because that. I'm kidding.
We love those guys, but
yes.
If you take anything from this episode, it's that phrase right there: buying someone else's project. Never do that. Now, if you buy something because you want a component, but if you look at something that someone has been trying to assemble and you think you can do it, you can't.
Yep. Randy also recommends.
Be real about your skills.
Yeah. Randy also recommends not trying to build the project car in an Advanced Auto parking lot in the middle of the night, but you wouldn't be.
The wrenching error project creep. We routinely do this, and Tom Lamino, our very good friend, literally just posted the word Volkswagen. And Chrissy, you want to give him
is it here? I was like, I don't even remember what I said.
You said you don't even need to expand on Volkswagen.
No, not on his situation and mine. So yes, all the above. Thanks for that.
All right. Next one, Jeff. I think we're getting down to the end here.
Sure. Yes. How about the one that hurt? It was an error then, but you would totally jump in and do it again. Maybe you're older, maybe you're wiser, maybe you're just convinced I could do it better this time. Mental. I know you're
Yes, this could be an entire episode of stuff that I wish I could do again, but just the short version of it is when I had my Porsche 996 that I was convinced I was going to make a race car because I was going to come back from deployment with money and time, and I was obligating money I didn't have. I gutted a car that I should have kept because it was a great car. And then while I was on this deployment is when I decided to quit and cut my source of income. So I ended up with a caged 996 that I never drove again and sold to a guy who cut the cage out and restored it to street status. I had 2 Volkswagen Combi buses, and they both broke down at the worst possible times. I wish I still had those. And the Mercedes 300 turbo diesel that I wish I'd kept. I traded it for a Mazda pickup, and the Mazda pickup truck it wasn't a bad vehicle, but I didn't love it. And I still love that Mercedes 300 turbo diesel. I would probably still drive that car. 285,000 miles.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would love, if I could afford it, to take another shot at a Scout 2. They are just getting stupid money right now for anything if it's a pile of rust with a VIN number. That's the only way that they're affordable. There is a Scout,
the little one that was at SEMA 2 years ago.
Yeah. There's a Scout at in my neighborhood that I drive by, and I'm like, I got to get that. Got to send her a tarp. The guy hasn't moved it in years. He's got a Trump flag though.
We probably drive by your house and see your international pickup truck. I gotta get that. It hasn't moved in years.
It's true.
I'm told it's just an ignition coil and it'll run.
Yeah, I probably would do a DSM again, but they're easy and cheap and near free. So
yeah, that's a good level setting there. When a DSM is easy and cheap, yeah.
No, to buy.
Even still,
like, because you have room to put that.
No, I don't. That's why I don't
talking...
have them. I would have them if I had room.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
All right,
Yep.
good.
And
at some point I owned a Mark II Jetta limo. It was a homemade one. It was awesome. It was silver. It was a 5-seater. So they just extended it was awesome. We every once in a while I go on VW Vortex and look for it because I loved this car. I don't know where we sold it to, but I know it's in a field somewhere, and every once in a while I look for it. It's probably rusting away and I can't have it now, but that would
be such a great Lemons rally car.
You said a Mark II Jetta limo?
It was homemade. Somebody made it. They cut off the the front half.
What color was it?
Gray, silver.
It was pretty well finished though from the pictures you showed me.
It was amazing.
A hacked together thing. Like
it was not
limo.
It was. Yeah,
that might
that's
be
it. That's it.
Actually, it.
That's really it, right?
That's really it.
It's here on a page of Reddit called Shitty Car Mods.
That's my car.
It looks great. I love it.
It was. Well, maybe it's not in a field anymore. I want to find this person because
2013.
I know.
It was a couple years ago.
I thought it says 3 years ago up there. So this was my car. So I'm sorry for people that are listening. It is a silver Mark III Jetta. They cut off the one half of the Jetta from on the top, and then one half of Jetta on the bottom, and then they welded them together. So the middle was not the part.
I am flummoxed right now that you owned this.
Yeah.
This is so badass.
That's my car.
And oh my God.
This is the one that got away, and I'm sad about it. Like I want it.
Sad for you.
I want it back.
We have been friends for 11 years, and I never
heard this story.
I mean,
and honestly, this is design wise, it's actually quite good because they cut the roof at the end of the square window on the first one, and then welded it.
The middle is not the weak point. It doesn't flex in the middle.
No,
so there's a seat.
I
don't know if you can scroll in. So in that middle, there's one door. It opens on both sides, but it doesn't open on this middle door because that's where there's a seat there, and it's a sideways
you can
seat.
See the headrest.
I can see the sideways seat.
So that's a sideways seat there.
Shit.
Yeah. So this was my car.
Oh my God! And the sideways seat is the front seat,
so that's why it was a 5-seater because.
By the way,
I guess you have 6 in theory.
This is absolutely New Jersey, because I'm looking at the New Jersey that's got a Maryland plate, but it has.
But that is
friggin' the track that I hate, Trenton.
Englishtown.
Englishtown. Yeah. That might be when it was my car.
Might be
like
a
that.
Waterfest.
It could have been because we went to I went to Englishtown every year.
Yeah.
There you go. It's got like the pink card in the dashboard. That's like, I just bought it and I'm from New Jersey.
No, or that's a car show car. Like I brought that to car shows because why not? Because it's amazing.
Wow, this is amazing.
That's my car.
I'm
the one that got away.
The show is over. That is the best story today. And I'm with Mental. We've known each other for how freaking long?
I'm sorry I don't tell you all of my car stories. I've got plenty of car stories.
I heard about the gosh darn Corrado 1,000,000 times.
I'm sorry.
You never bothered with, and then Mark to Jetta limo.
We've definitely done some searching just to find it.
Did not think Chrissy could be any cooler. Totally wrong.
That should be your picture on the Car Chicks website. I had a Mark II Jetta limo.
Anyway,
it's a long time ago. That's long before
a life ago, right?
Yeah, it was a life ago.
I know what I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace for tomorrow.
Oh boy. Wrap this up with
we don't want you don't want another one. You want that one.
I got nothing on this
one.
Oh my.
You also want the Jetta limo.
It'd be fun, but then I'd have to swap a K24 in it.
Of course, that's fine. Not?
But
then it would blow itself apart because it was
true.
Forget that out. TDI 1.8, baby. 1.9, baby.
Actually, a TDI would be perfect for that because it would make all the torques.
Every car I've sold, so a lot of them I've been sad to see go, but I sold them at the right time for the right reasons. Like they're but I don't think I want any of them back, even though they're like cars that I remember fondly, like
Sandy.
the two that I sold to Mental, and my M3 and my Integra GSR and my E30, like all good, and the CRX that I loved back in the day with the Integra everything. All great cars, but I sold them all for the right reasons at the right times, and I don't want any of them back. You
don't want to clean
I don't want
Tegra.
any of them exactly the way, because now none of them are going to be the way they were.
No. I mean, like right now, like a fully factory fresh 5,000 mile Integra.
I would take a CRX with all the stuff swapped in the way I had it back in the day. Yeah, that was a great car.
All right.
My buddy Mark Francis, he talks about he's bought his wife two cool cars. One of them is a perfectly tagged, immaculate BMW E30 M3, and the other one is an Integra Type R. The second year, yellow.
Yeah.
And he's like, yep, if I die tomorrow, all my wife has to do is go into the garage, pick one of these two things, and she's coming home with a 20-year-old.
Great.
35 to 40-year-old at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Nostalgia for those cars. Yeah.
So I think before we wrap it up, I want to make sure that we thank all of our listeners on all the social medias. We can't even touch like a quarter of the people that responded with the awesome stories. We just want to make sure we all thank you all for telling us your terrible stories about all the terrible choices you made, because we're not surprised, but we like hearing about it.
Yeah.
But
Bill
I
Fisher.
feel so much better about myself.
I'm just going to give some shout outs. Bill Fisher, Stank, not Jonah Hill, Lamino, Joe Corey, Eric Phipps, Dead Pedal, Dave Carpenter chimed in, Greg O'Brien, Cameron, Michael, Dave Eckel. There's so many.
So many.
Yeah. You guys are, and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I mean,
thanks for listening.
Totally. But yeah, just thanks for.
Oh, at Houston, someone showed up in a pickle suit because they listened to this show. He went, wait, what? And I'm like, I challenged someone on the podcast, and the Nissan showed up, and the guy, and he knew the line and everything. It was just fantastic.
That's great. That's great.
What's wrong with you people listening to us?
No, it's hilarious and it's deep, and that's what's awesome.
Chrissy, do we have just a tip or anything?
We don't. We're
okay.
over. We're gonna.
We're so late at this point. Let me just get my sound going up here. Do we know what's going on next week?
We might. Hold on. I'm sorry. I have to scroll
down there. Yes, we do.
It's down there. Everybody scroll to the bottom. We're scrolling past all the wonderful listener comments we can't get to.
Can you see it, Chrissy?
I can, yeah. I thought you were going to say something. Gather around, the YouTube listeners. It is our annual Gearhead gift giving guide show. We are going to give you our favorite gifts for the wrench in your house, as well as what you can give others, or cool things that we think is going to be great. We're going to give it into you a time. So before you get to shopping, before the Black Friday sales, and hopefully you get this stuff before Christmas, because, it's time to shop. Let's do it.
I'm hearing that there's some sort of delays in the market.
That's why I was saying let's
cause some problems.
Shop now.
What there are no delays in, and us saying thank you for downloading us, thank you for listening to us, thank you for giving us such great feedback on this. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you tell us you don't like us, Give us 5 stars. Tell us why. Then in YouTube, hit the like button, hit the smash button, talk to us down there in the doodly doo, and we will talk back to you, of course. If you have any show ideas or you want to tell us about your crazy car regrets or the one that got away, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text mental 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers, YouTube, Facebook, Everyone Racers, even Reddit /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, please keep that Jetta limo in your yard. Do not sell it. Keep the shiny side up. Keep the wheels down. Thanks for watching, everyone.